Hello, friends. Welcome to Multiverse with me, your colleague Chandra. And today we are going to discuss something very interesting about some celestial body. As you know, in Multiverse, we come every day live and we discuss about the celestial bodies. So today, let's find out what is that we are going to discuss. Well, 10 interesting facts about Saturn, and that is our topic of discussion. So, without further ado, let's move on to our live feed about Saturn. As you can see, the Saturn is moving around behind me. And friends, if you are watching us live and you have a comment or opinion, you just use your chat function. Your messages will get displayed on the screen and we will read out together and address those issues. So the first fact today is Saturn has many moons. You must be knowing that. And one of the very popular Saturn satellite is known as Titan. Well, Titan is the only moon which is known to have an atmosphere, and it has a very thick atmosphere. It has the estimated height of the atmosphere on Titan is almost like 370 miles, almost like 500 kilometers thick atmosphere. So it is very strange. A moon of Saturn has an atmosphere, and probably it has life also. So we'll come to that. So what is the next fact? The next fact is Saturn is the fastest rotating planet in our solar system. It rotates very, very high. Just you can imagine, it's a trailblazer. It is going around itself, its own axis, at the rate of 6,200 miles an hour. And because of that, if you look at Saturn planet, it is not a sphere. It is kind of squished from top. So it has a bigger diameter when you measure on the equator, and it has a less diameter when you occasion between poles. So basically it has different diameter, and all this is because of the centrifugal force and because of the high speed of rotation. What next? Well, it's also very cold in Jupiter. When you measure the temperature of Jupiter, it is supposed to be one of the coldest in the entire solar system. The average temperature of Saturn is minus 178 degrees. So I beg your pardon, I mentioned Jupiter by mistake, because Saturn is also one of the large gas giant in our solar system. But nevertheless, please forgive me for that slip of tongue. We are talking about Saturn, and the mean temperature is minus 178 degrees centigrade, which is very, very cold. In spite of being such a cold planet, it has huge pressure, because it's a large planet, and the pressure inside Saturn is 100 times that of the pressure that we experience on the surface of the Earth. So you can imagine, how big this planet is, how much gravity this Saturn has, and therefore it is a interesting fact to know that what are the conditions. You must know what are the conditions when you go to Saturn. What next? Well, very similar to what you have heard about Jupiter, Saturn also as a planet generates its own heat. It does not get that much heat from sun, but it generates its own heat, and it gives out heat which is twice as much as it gets it from the sun. So it generates so much power and so much heat that it gives out back into the space. What next? Well, we all know that we have seen numerous pictures about Saturn. It is always shown tilted on one side. So just like Earth is tilted on its axis, Saturn is also tilted on its axis, and because of the tilt, we get these seasons. And similarly, just like we have seasons on Earth, even Saturn experience seasons. The only difference is, like, we have one season last for 4 months, 4 Earth month on Earth, whereas on Saturn, one season lasts for 8 Earth years. So once the Saturn get into a particular season, it remains there for a very long time, as far as humans are concerned, from our perspective. Interesting thing is that it also has these four distinct seasons, very similar to Earth. So moving on to the next fact. Well, we have seen the different pictures and videos about Saturn, and we know that it has a magnificent ring system which is quite large. I mean, if you go and measure the parameters of these ring system, you'll find them to be very, very large. While they are very spread out and very large, and there are multiple ring systems, the thickness of these rings is not too much. Uh, and So because of that, when you look it from the side, the thickness of these rings is so thin that they completely disappear when you look from the exact 90 degrees angle from the planet. And planet is very big, Saturn is very big, and ring system completely disappears. You will not be able to see the ring system at all because it's very thin. So because of that, every 14 years, uh, from Earth's perspective, the Saturn is completely at 90 degrees from the line of vision if you're looking from the Earth onto the Saturn. And because of that, every 14 years, from our perspective, the ring system disappears for our perspective. So this is a phenomena which happens. So while you see ring of Saturn most of the time, but there are certain times where you will not be able to see these rings. And so if you are basically an astronomer or a space scientist planning to examine the rings, make sure that you maintain a timetable where you don't miss out on that, and it happens every 14 years. What next? Well, as I told you that Titan has a very big atmosphere around it. It is made of various different gases, and it is also very thick. So because of the thick atmosphere that Titan has, if there is a sound created, the thicker atmosphere actually facilitate movement of sound quite easily, and to a further distance. So it basically makes sure that the waves of sound are efficiently transferred from point A to point B on the surface of Titan. And because of that, whenever there are storms or some wind howling, the sound of the wind gets multiplied. And when you land on Titan, you will see different kinds of noises multiplied. And because of this phenomena, very, very strange phenomena, you keep hearing these howling kind of noises when you land on Titan. So it could be scary for some, it could be intriguing for others, but I think nevertheless it's a very interesting fact that in a place like Titan, you will hear lot of howling kind of noises. It's a very, very noisy place to basically live on the surface. What next? Well, believe it or not, it has a huge size, but in terms of density, it is also moving very fast. I've already explained. In terms of density, Saturn is the lightest planet in the solar system, and it is so light, it is actually lighter than water. So if you are able to find an ocean which is quite big, quite large, and just for the sake of testing it, and if you put the Saturn on top of that ocean surface, the Saturn planet will then float on the ocean surface. It is so light. So it is the least dense planet in the entire solar system, even though it has these properties of a lot of heat coming out, and not as much as energy coming out as compared to Jupiter, but still it has some engine which is running at the core. And in spite of having these properties, it is the lightest, or I will not say lightest, it is the least dense planet in the entire solar system. Well, as I said, the Saturn moon is the only moon. I think I've already explained that it has a huge um, atmosphere, and even though it's a satellite of a planet, but believe it or not, Titan is the only satellite of any planet which is having an atmosphere. I mean, if you look at any other satellite, even larger satellites around Jupiter, but they don't have a atmosphere. But Titan has a very very thick atmosphere, which is quite deep, 370 miles deep, almost like 500 kilometers deep. So it's a very strange phenomena, how Titan is able to harbor an atmosphere, that too a very thick one, and which comprise of different kinds of gases. So I think we have come to the end of our program today, and I hope you enjoyed some of these facts which I explained to you today. And if you enjoyed, do share your comments. And I look forward to meeting you in the next multiverse. Until then, I like to say goodbye for today. And I will catch you tomorrow morning again with some other celestial body facts about that in the multiverse. Until then, I like to say goodbye for today. Enjoy your Sunday. I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Bye bye.